So we are here. Now
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I was talking about pronouns. This pronoun is in English, and in German it becomes pronomen. Pronomen or pronouns are just a moment. There are two people waiting. Yeah. Welcome everybody. So I was talking about the pronouns, which is in German known as pronomen. These are the verbs or the words, not verbs. These are words which are used to replace a noun. I just gave an example. Let's say Claudia lives in Munich, right? And she is engineer. Sorry, please spare me of my spelling mistakes. So what I said is Claudia is a noun here. Claudia lives in Munich. Oh, one moment. Claudia lives in Munich and she is engineer. So this she is a pronoun. That is, we are using this word in place of the noun. We can always say Claudia lives in Munich, Claudia is engineer. But that doesn't look, doesn't look very pleasant. Taking the name of the noun every time. So in German also, as in English, there are three types of pronouns. One is the first person. A moment. Yeah. One is the first person. I'll explain it later on. Second person and third person. So, for example, first person in one more thing. For especially in German, for every case there will be a formal and an informal. Likewise, formal and informal. Formal and informal. Like yesterday, I spoke about if I say you are my grandfather and I say you are my son. So in both examples, I'm using you. I'll just write down to make it more clear. You are my grandfather and you my son. So as you see, the same pronoun is used both ways. I mean, English, as people make fun of it. People say English is a funny language. So here you see, you is the same for both cases, irrespective of whether I'm talking to somebody who is very respectable, very senior to me, or somebody who is junior to me. You is the same. But in case of German, it will, the word which will be replaced by you will be Sie, if we are talking to somebody who is senior. And if I'm talking to my kid or to anybody who is of the same profile like me, I will be using do. So we will talk about it later on. This will keep coming on the way. That is what I'm saying. For every pronoun, there will be Sie, which is a formal. This is formal. And do, which will be informal. So, likewise, as I said, in German, there will be first person, formal, informal, second, formal, informal, and third, formal and informal. So how does it look like? So, the first person, as I mentioned, will be ish. I request everybody to please pronounce this word correctly. Ish. Please speak.
Ish.
Yeah, I heard only one voice.
I think two voice. I already.
Three voice came together.
It's
ish bin miye.
Yeah, because many times I have seen people saying as ik.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not the right word. Okay, now because if it is ish, so there is hardly any option of respect or non-respect. I'm talking about myself, so you take it whichever way you feel like. However, there is a plural form for it, which will be wir. Yeah, I request everybody to please speak out wir.
Wir.
Yeah, make sure it is not wir. Yeah, it The second person is
You.
do. And the plural form of do will be ear. I-H-R. I request everybody to please pronounce this word also. Ear.
Ear.
Ear. Ear.
Ear.
Ear.
Because it is not ear. Yeah, sometimes people also speak out as ear, which is absolutely wrong. Yeah.
Ear.
Ear, that's right. Going ahead, here, because we are talking about do to a second person, that person could be a formal or an informal. So this do is an informal form, and the respective form will be Z. Yeah, and the plural of Z will be also Z. Just a moment. Let me here write as singular and here plural. All right. Okay, so Z will be the same if I'm talking to my grandfather, or if I'm talking to a group of people who are of the same age of grandfather. So I'm just taking an example. If I'm talking to a police person, and if I'm talking to a group of people who are all police, then in both cases I'll be with examples it will be more clear. And then comes the third person, which is RZS. Now, what is this? RZS.
S. Yeah.
Yeah. So R is used for he, right?
Yeah.
Now, Z is to be used for she.
Yeah.
S is to be used for neutral.
It.
Yeah, it. That's right. And going ahead, the plural form is simply Z. Now, why I'm repeating this class is, friends, you have to make sure that you are very clear upon this Z, because this is going to be, kind of a pain throughout your journey. Z comes here also, Z comes here also, here also, here also, right? So only on the basis of context or on the sentence you can figure out the meaning of Z, because Z can take any form. I mean, if I'm talking about a lady, I'll be talking her as a Z. But if I'm talking to a group of policemen, I'll be talking to as Z. And if I'm talking to one policeman also, I will be again using only Z. So only with context you can find out the meaning or the exact meaning of Z. So we will find out later on. Now, one more thing I want to tell you. Just a moment. Friends, as I said earlier also, if you have any doubt, please break me on the spot. Huh? You can ask me anytime. A few more words about these three things. First person, as I said, is myself. I'm talking only about me. Second person is about me talking to you. Me talking to you. And third person is me talking to you about someone else. I mean, this is a kind of a actual scenario. How do we use it? So suppose if I say that Amia lives in Köln. If I say like this, so in most practical scenarios, what is going on is I am talking to somebody and telling about Amia, isn't it? Let's say I'm talking to Raghu and I'm telling Raghu that Raghu, do you know that Amia lives in Köln? So it is me talking to you. Maybe you will be replaced with someone talking about someone else, some third person. Yeah. So that's a practical scenario. Any questions, friends, up to this point?
Just in case, in continuation of Amie lives in Cologne and he is IT engineer, then Z is IT engineer, correct? Third person he, masculine.
No. Yeah, if you're talking about a lady, then you'll use Z.
No. Let's say you, as in Sid, is saying to Raghu that Amir lives in Cologne,
Yeah.
and the next line is like, and he's an IT professional. So the sentence would be Amir lives in Cologne und sie is an IT professional. So I'm trying to use third person singular as in masculine.
No. Air. It should be air.
Yeah, it will be air. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I took up. Let's take up this point only. I am talking to, let's say, Raghu, right? I'm telling him that Amia, sorry for mistake, Amia stays in Köln and he is engineer, right? So straight away, Amia stays in Cologne. It will be Amia won't in Köln. This all stuff we'll take up later on in our later stages. And now, if I use Z, right? So you know, Amia, Z, if I use, it is first of all used for plural only, right? Suppose if I'm talking about Amia and his family, then I would say Amia und ihre Familie wohnt in Cologne und sie is in Ingenieur. Okay, so Z is first of all used for plural. Otherwise, it will be used for females. Let's say here I replace with Claudia. Claudia wohnt in Cologne und sie ist Ingenieur. Right? Yeah. You can, you know what, in English you can replace it with they. This Z. Yeah. And as I replaced here Z with she, here is he. So in English, what will we say? Amir lives in Cologne and he is engineer. So straight away, this he will be replaced with there. Right?
Yeah.
Let me take a few more examples. Petra and Claudia lives in Köln. So here, if I were to replace these two people, see, first of all, you see that I'm not saying Mrs. Petra and Mrs. Claudia. I'm not saying like this, right? So that means if I'm taking somebody's name directly, so I mean, he's of the same profile like me, or maybe he's my friend, or maybe he's my Mitarbeiter, I mean, my employee, colleague. So I am taking their name directly. That means I'm using do, right? So now do will be used as a you. Now, if I'm talking to Petra, let's say if I ask Petra, how are you? So here I will be using Petra, we gets dear. Now this dear is a future, word. I mean, a topic for future that we'll take up later on. But this is a form of do only, right? So just make sure, friends, that whenever you are converting some sentence, first check whether there is any respect-giving word or not, or formal. Is it showing some sort of formal relationship or not? If there is no such Mrs. or Mr. or in German it would be Herren. Yeah.
Her.
Yes. Make sure it is Herr.
Her. Okay.
Yeah. Herr or Frau.
Frau.
So if these words come before any name, then you make sure that you are going to use Z all the time. That is, you are going to use the second case, as I mentioned here. Where is it? Yes. Here, as I mentioned, that there will be formal and informal, right? So make sure that if any Z word is there, sorry, any Mrs., Mr., Herr, Damen, Frau, there are so many words. If such words are coming, then you have to use the formal language only. Yeah. And here, as I took the example, here I am saying, Petra, how are you? So I'm not using any Mrs. Petra, how are you? Frau Petra, how are you? That means I will be using only do. Okay. And here also, as I said, and Mrs. Claudia. So this means that here I am using Mrs. That means I'm giving respect. Yeah. There is one entry, one moment. Now, friends, you will never face any such situation wherein it will never look like this. Wait. Petra and Mrs. Claudia. How are you? I mean, technically it is a valid sentence, but normally, as far as I have seen in my experience, if I am talking to somebody who is very junior and I am talking to somebody who is very senior, these both sentences, most likely they will not come in one sentence, right? I mean, if I'm talking to somebody senior and I'm talking to somebody junior, in most cases, it won't happen that both topics will be covered in only one sentence. I will be most likely, facing situation like, Petra, how are you? And Mrs. Claudia, how are you? So there will be two separate sentences. Because if you were to convert it to German, I don't know, how complicated it will be, using both respect and non-respect in a same sentence. So that's very unlikely situation. Okay. Now, let's take one example. Hello, Frank. How are you? So I request you, friends, please tell me, as per your understanding, first of all, what should be the case here? I mean, is it a formal or an informal?
It's informal.
Formal.
No, informal.
Informal. It's informal.
Wait. Let's
It
go.
is not formal, not respectable. Yeah.
How many for informal?
Yeah, it's informal.
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 Okay. Anybody for formal?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. No, we need not know the name of who is voting on formal or informal. So, friends, if I was saying like, hello, Frank, how are you? So I'm just taking the name of that guy, isn't it? If I were to say, hello, Mr. Frank, how are you? Then this becomes respectful or formal. But if I'm saying, hello, Frank, how are you? Then I'm straight away saying, I'm talking to somebody who's of my same profile. So here it is informal. This is the right one. Okay. So now, in case if I were
Frank
to
will
use,
be also my colleague. And I can say, oh, hello, Mr. Frank, my colleague, and again I can say you, hello, Mr. Siddharth, how are you?
So see, if he is a colleague, there could be two chances. Either you use Mr. or directly say hi. Yeah. So if you were to use Mr., it can happen that for the same colleague, sometimes you speak like Mr. Frank, or sometimes you will say hi, Frank. So depending upon the usage of your this word, Mr. or hi, if you are using Mr. Hi, Frank, hello, Mr. Frank, how are you? Then you have to further go with Z only, which is a formal.
So Siddharth, it also depends how close you are, right, with the person.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? Sometimes it so happens that I face this situation many times. Let's say if we are in a conference call and we are all sitting like this, and let's say these two guys are my kunden, that is my clients, and these all guys are my colleagues. So if I am talking to my kunden, my client, then I will be using Z, because they are respectful people. They are external guys. I have to show extra respect for them. But if I were to talk to this guy who is my colleague, I'll be using do. This situation, I'm sure, friends, that you also will be facing a lot of times. Yeah, I mean, this conference could be online as well. So make sure that this is something which will come with practice only. It may happen that if you if you are in a doubtful situation, or if you are not sure that there will be a tongue of slip, there will be a slip of tongue, and you may use do instead of z. So it's always better to switch to z all the times. Why I'm saying so? Because suppose this is me and this is my big client, right? And he is external. And if I use Z, everything will be all fine. But by mistake, if I use do, you never know that he will be very angry then, right? So it is always better to use Z all the times. And in case, if it is the opposite way around, or this is me, and I am talking to somebody who is my colleague, and if I use Z, at max he will say, hey, why are you giving me so much respect? You should talk to me as do. This is only he will be saying, isn't it? Or maybe if you are talking to, let's say, police people, so make sure that you have to speak only with Z, never ever do. So, yeah.
Or immigration office.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I wanted to write down. Finance, Rathaus, then there's Ausländer Behörde.
Tax office.
Yeah, that's Finanzamt.
Finance, okay.
Yeah, Ausländer Behörde. If you by mistake made a do na, so it will be like the aircraft falling down on nosedive, going like this. It will be like this. मतलब आपका होता हुआ काम बिगड़ जाएगा if you use do by any chance. And these guys, and of course police eye, and these guys feel so offended if you by mistake use do na, that it is really kind of unforgivable offense then. Yeah. So always practice. When you are practicing German na, you should always practice using Z all the times, and later on you may switch over to do. Because we are talking about everyday German. We are not talking about passing a Goethe.
Okay, so Sid, so here are so many permutation and combination to use do, Z, ear, R, and other things. So do we have any practice session or practice document we can download and get it practiced so that we can start understanding where to use do or Z or ear, something like that?
Yes. As I said yesterday also, we are now learning A, B, C, D, E. And that usage will be like essay on cow. Right? So this essay we will be learning. These practice sessions we will be definitely doing, but only when we complete up to Z. Right? So first of all, let us understand the basics, and then because my only motive of this class is to go for everyday German. Like we will be doing a lot of interacting with each other, talking to each other, and then I'll be creating some scenarios wherein, let's say, if I am an external person in your company, I'm an auditor, then how are you expected to talk to me, right? So that is what I'll be focusing upon. But first, must be at least the minimum at least 10 to 12 classes we have to do only upon the basics. So don't worry, I'll take up that issue in a later classes. Actually, I never wanted to focus upon a lot of grammar, but because this is a very, very basic thing. Without this, we cannot proceed ahead at all.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You agree?
Yeah. So this is where we are. So just to repeat, ish will be used when I'm talking only about myself. One small thing I wanted to tell you, I don't want to frighten you, but I wanted to just narrate you that whatever we are learning today, this, by the way, is known as nominative.
Or pronoun.
Yeah, nominative pronoun. This is what we are learning. This all that stuff, na, ich, du, sie, er, sie, es. These are all known as nominative. Later on will be coming accusative,
Accusative. Yeah.
and then will be coming upon dative. As you probably remember, na friends, that on the first class I told you, if somebody sees 555 and ask you to please tell me Fjun Fundert, Fjun Fund Fjun Dish, so everybody will be like it's a catastrophe. Then if you straight away try to pronounce this 555 catastrophe, but after one,
I just got an live example.
yeah.
I was searching some place or apartment for me, and in response of that, I got a statement like should tips for Z. That means the person who is sending an email is not aware like I'm a senior or junior to him. That's why the senders written down Z.
Absolutely right.
That means
Yeah.
search tips for you. This is the English statement, and the use of Z is pretty much evident here with the explanation you mentioned.
Absolutely, you are absolutely right. In fact, I used to sell some stuff on, let's say, Facebook or Marketplace or eBay. So whenever somebody gives me a question, sends me a question whether it is available or not, I always use Z, irrespective of whichever type of person he or she is. So it's always better. Later on, you can switch over to do. That's a different case.
For selective people, do rest all C. That's the best way, right?
Yeah, if you know the other person. Yeah. That's right. Selected people, you can always use do. Yeah, but make sure that you should not assume anything. It should not happen that you are always speaking do and the other guy is feeling actually offended. I mean, yeah. So if you are sure that he is comfortable, then use do. Otherwise, only Z all the times. Yeah.
Siddharth, this one will end or what? I just got a pop-up.
It's a 40 minutes class, so we have only 9 minutes left.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was actually a revision of yesterday's class. Now, in next classes, I'll be taking up some, practical scenarios, only in nominative case. That is what we have learned today. And we will be making use of these pronouns, ish, do, z, in different scenarios, which one we should use. And, this all stuff I'll be talking about in next classes. Yeah. Any question, friends? We have only 8 minutes left.
So far, so good.
All right. So just to take one small example. Let's say if I say Herr Müller where do you live? So first of all, I ask you one question: whether whatever pronoun we will be using, whether it will be plural or singular.
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 No, plural.
Plural.
Yeah.
Singular.
So it's Mr. Miller, so plural.
Yes.
So,
no.
It is singular, but
I
formal.
think I mean it's singular but formal.
It's formal,
yes.
Formal and singular.
Yeah. It's a formal. Sorry.
Wait. I'm asking only about singular or plural. Formal, informal. I'm not asking. That is the
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it is singular.
Yeah. So everybody is on the same track. That it is a singular. That's great. Now let's come on the second aspect. Whether it is formal or informal.
Formal.
It's formal.
Formal. Right.
Formal.
Okay, so majority is informal. That's right. Absolutely correct. So friends, first of all, these are the two things that you have to take into consideration before using any pronoun. Herr Müller, this straight away tells me that it's a singular and it's a formal, right? So where do you live? So it is a singular and formal. So just, immediately, the moment you catch up these hints, you should consider this table. And here you will see here formal and singular. So first of all, I'm talking only about this table then, because it is singular. So whatever we'll be using will be here only. And because it is formal, so it will be Z only for sure. So in case if I were to use, let's say if the second sentence was, Herr Müller, where do you live? Do you live in Köln? If I were to ask like this now, so see, as I said earlier also, most likely you will be using this pronoun only in the second sentence. Yeah, like in English also, I'm using the pronoun here, right? So do you live in Köln? So what do you think? Which is the perfect word which is the perfect pronoun for this to you here? What do you think?
Z.
Ear.
Z.
Z.
Z is the right word.
Yeah.
Here is group.
He.
It's for group. Yeah, it's a plural. Plural, and it is informal. So we will take up later on, I mean, in our next classes. So you all caught it absolutely right. But you please consider the approach. What approach we used is, first of all, with the context of the sentence, we found out that this is a singular. So no question of plural things. And because it is here, it is formal. So make sure, friends, whenever you are going to use any pronoun, these two things you should figure out, whether it is singular or plural, and whether it is formal or informal. And then you have to recall that table, the previously one table, and then you have to find out whether I have to use Z, do, or RZS, whatever it is. Yeah. Now, one more hint here. I am talking to somebody, right? So there are only two people involved, right? So it's only second person. Correct. So make sure that you don't get confused with the third person things. Like, because it's a second person, so we are going to talk about this case only then. Am I right, friends? So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so this is the approach. I mean, based on this approach only, you can figure out your sentence, and I'm sure that you won't make any mistake at all. We will take up more such examples later on, because today's 40 minutes class was a little shorter. Yeah. So with this, let's end up this class. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll upload this video also on YouTube very soon. I request you that midweek, maybe on Tuesday, Wednesday, have a look at it, and just stay in touch with this German. Don't keep yourself foreign or aligned with it, and just stay in touch. And I also recommend, please keep on searching on YouTube also for various videos, so you always stay in touch with it. Okay, see you then, friends, next week.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Siddharth.
Siddharth.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Sid.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.